What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So for today's daily episode, we have a couple topics to talk about, and as you can see just from the headline here, one of the topics is going to be about Stranger Things season 5, which is the final season. If you didn't already know, which I'm sure many of you or all of you knew, season 5 was going to be the final season for Stranger Things. We have talked about Stranger Things a couple times here. The last time we did, actually the first time we did was on November 11th during that daily episode, and then the last time we did was on December 2nd during that daily episode. And here we are, well over a month later, almost 2 months later, we're coming back to Stranger Things season 5 because I find this very interesting, and this was hinted towards a bit last year as far as how these 8 episodes were going to play out, how they were going to be laid out. And again, as you see from the headline here, Stranger Things 5 will be like watching 8 blockbuster movies back to back. So we're gonna go ahead and get into these details, and I'll pause where I'm going to start throwing my opinion in on this topic. So the 5th and final season of Stranger Things is headed our way here in 2025, and series creator the Duffer Brothers have offered up some fresh Stranger Things 5 teasers. As reported by Entertainment Weekly, Matt and Ross Duffer are hyping the final hours of the hit Netflix series less as episodes and more as a series of 8 blockbuster movies. Quote, "We spent a full year filming this season. By the end, we had captured over 650 hours of footage," Ross Duffer said at a Netflix event today. "So needless to say, this is our biggest and most ambitious season yet. It's like 8 blockbuster movies. It's pretty insane. Season 5 will be big and epic," Matt Duffer added, echoing Ross's promise for the final season. "There's no time for a ramp up. It's going to be intense from beginning to end." So let's pause there for a second. I think if you're gonna, you must be pretty confident in what you're promising, and I think the unfortunate part about coming out with stuff like this and promises like this is that you better deliver. I think, in my opinion, Stranger Things, I haven't been, that entrenched into it like many other people have. I've dabbled in it here and there, but I know from the people that I've talked to who have, been hardcore fans, felt that it was starting to dip towards end of season 3 into season 4. And if you're going to come out with season 5, and typically shows do, and shows like this, we know, like, for example, Amazon Prime has The Boys, which is coming out with their final season, and they're promising something very similar. They're promising that they're going all out. It's their final season, so why hold back? And this echoes that same sentiment, right? It's going to be 8 blockbuster movies. My concern with that is that if you're going to have 8 blockbuster movies and you're roughly running these episodes anywhere between 48 minutes to an hour and 5 minutes, I feel like even with an 8 episode season, you're going to be rushing things and trying to close out story points a little too quickly. And that's been my gripe with, various TV shows, especially when they are only doing 8 episodes. And the most current show that even did less than that was Dune, over on HBO Max. They only did 6 episodes, which I thought was even scarier, so to speak, when you're going to try and fit so much story into 6 episodes. Because we've also seen, for example, HBO Max or Max do the same thing with the House of Dragon series, only doing 8 episodes. And in my opinion, the 8 episodes hurt season 2 of that series. And doing 8 episodes here and promising they're going to be like blockbuster movies, again, you're promising a lot. You're promising a lot in a very short window for each one of these episodes or blockbuster movies, and then trying to, one, tie them all together seamlessly and close out all story points so the fans don't feel like they're just being rushed through something and not getting the full satisfaction of all the time they've invested into the series or to the characters. Because if you have over 650 hours of footage, and the reason, and we know why it took so long to film this, why it took a full year. I mean, that the writer's strike, the actor's strike had a play in why this took so long. And the other gripe I'm going to have here is with that and the fact that they took so long. I mean, just in this image here, all these kids are going to look vastly older than when we last saw them, right, in Stranger Things 4. And don't get me wrong, I know that's always the issue. That's always the problem when you come across TV series or movies where they're kid actors and they're gonna grow up, very fast between seasons or between movies. But with this one, I think it's going to be even more predominant, and I'm kind of glad the series is coming to an end. Again, I think it's starting to, fall to the wayside. I don't think the broader fan base is really that hyped up about it. It's not like people are still, it's water cooler talk, so to speak, after every episode. I think your hardcore fans have been sitting waiting for this to finally come around. But again, if you're gonna promise 8 blockbuster episodes or movies, so to speak, you gotta deliver on that, because if you don't, you're gonna end up like several other TV series that when they end up ending, their last season is just absolutely horrible, and the fans will let you know after every episode, and they're gonna let you know for years to come after the show is over. Every time the show comes up in conversation, they'll talk about how great it started, and then it will go right into how horribly it ended. So we'll see if they can, deliver on this promise. So let's continue a little bit more here. Let's scroll down. The scale of Stranger Things 5 is bigger than the previous 4 seasons, but the brothers also teased that the season will somewhat mark a return to the vibes of the first season. It's also going to feel familiar. Ross notes this season is the biggest it's ever been in scale, but everyone's back together in Hawkins, interacting the same way they were in season 1. Let's see here. When we have the casting, which we know some of this, we already know all this as well. Set in the fall of 1987, 1 year after the events of season 4, Stranger Things 5 will consist of 8 episodes, and we've gone over this as well. We've gone over all the names for the episodes. While Stranger Things 5 is the final season of the main series, the Duffer Brothers have consistently promised that the show's universe isn't closing up for business anytime soon. There are more Stranger Things stories to tell, and in the works, they tease. Check out a new promo poster that Netflix released this morning, and here you go. It's pretty basic. I mean, obviously it's going to be pretty basic. I mean, it's a missing poster, right? So you don't really expect much, from that, especially if it's going to be used in the show. So, I mean, going back to some of these final comments here, I mean, they're gonna continue with the Stranger Things verse or Stranger Things universe. Again, I don't know if really many people outside your real hardcore fans are asking for this or wanting this or are seeking for this to continue. I think it's been quite some time since Stranger Things season 4 has been out. And again, I think some fans have kind of walked away and they've kind of not forgotten about the show, but they don't necessarily care as much about the show. It's like, oh yeah, Stranger Things. Yeah, I remember that show. It's been how many years since it's been on? Oh, it's finally going to come to an end. Okay, I'll check it out when it's all out there, right? Or I'll binge watch it when it's all available. So I think it's just going to be one of those things that, when I have time, I'll watch it. Again, outside your hardcores, they're going to want to watch it, dissect it, and do, reviews and things of that nature on it. But again, for me, I dabbled in it, never got much into it. But the reason I wanted to bring this topic up is just for the simple fact that when directors or creators promise big things like this, you better deliver on it, because the fans are going to let you know if you don't deliver. And I think that's what's going to hurt this series, if all 8 of these blockbuster movies or episodes are not at peak, for the entire season. So. All right, so moving on to our last topic. So I'm going to apologize up front if I mispronounce many of these names. I'm not an expert, so I will do my best to pronounce them the best that I can. So Takashi Miike's Audition getting a remake from Focus Features. Now I'm surprised. So this came out just a couple hours ago. You all know my feelings on remakes and reboots. I'm not a big fan of them, especially when you have something that is, whether it's a film, it happens more in the film industry than it does TV series. But when you have a film that was perfect for what it was for its time, and I feel like we constantly are going back and trying to find the ones that were a success and saying, let's remake them, let's reboot them, not so much for the current generation, but trying to cash in on either nostalgia or just trying to cash in on saying, we don't have any other ideas. This made money back then. Let's just redo it now, right? That's where I start to have a gripe. And this kind of fits the bill. So a true horror classic, Audition, is impossible to scrub from your brain even 26 years after its original release. and a fresh take on the tale is now in the works. I mean, so 26 years, I don't think we necessarily need to go back to the well on this, and that's just my opinion. Let those films stand on their own, let them have their time in the sun, and let it be. Come up with some original ideas. We've seen plenty of original ideas in the horror space in 2024 and in 2025. We're still seeing a lot of original ideas coming out. So I would like for the genre to keep on that trend instead of going back to the well on some of these films that have already been done and successful. Deadline reports say that Focus Features, Hyde Report Entertainment, and Mario Kasser Productions are nearing a deal to produce a new adaptation of Ryu Mikami's 1997 novel Audition, which served as the basis for Takashi Miike's movie back in 1999. Christina Daftrup, who directed the original Danish version of Speak No Evil that was remade by Blumhouse last year, is co-creating the new Audition with brother Mads Daftrup. So even like on this one here, they briefly talk about Speak No Evil. I have the Danish version in my queue to watch. It actually is available on Shudder if you want to check it out on Shudder. I have seen the remake with James McAvoy. I thought the remake was good for what it was, but again, I don't know if we necessarily needed the remake. I'm sure, again, the Danish version stands on its own, and maybe the reason they decided to do it is because it's a Danish version, let's make it an American version. Maybe that was their rationale. Otherwise, again, leave these original films alone. We don't need to keep recycling. Let's come up with some original stuff. So executive producers include Cineverse's Chris McGurk and Yolanda Marseilles. So the rest of this just goes on to talk about, who starred in the original film. It gives a brief synopsis. Again, we know all this information. This isn't anything new. And then we have, an image from the film from 1999. So again, it's still, I think, up in the air. I don't want to see films get canceled. I don't like seeing films get canceled, especially in the horror genre. But again, I don't think we need this. I'm happy with the 1999 version. That's just me. I want something original. I want something new. I don't want to keep seeing remakes and reboots constantly, especially in the horror genre. I know I'm sounding like a broken record on that point, but I just feel like it's something that's just so easily done with horror films that it doesn't necessarily need to be done. We've seen independent films, we've seen new ideas become very successful, and we've seen them take off as far as a cult following, a broad following, and even financial successes. So I want to see the horror genre continue on that path instead of going down this one here, because we see this time and time again. So all right, everyone, that's going to do it for today's daily episode. Let me know down in the comment section, what do you think about getting an Audition remake after 26 years from the last film? And are you looking forward to Stranger Things Season 5? Are you looking forward to the show in general? Are you looking forward to the show ending? And what do you think about the promise that we're going to get 8 blockbuster type movies instead of episodes? Again, I'm not banking on that promise. Of course, we'll have to wait and see once they come out, but I think it's just a big thing to promise, especially for a TV series that's been taking quite some time to get the last season out. So again, let us know down in the comment section. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Peace.